Welcome back, everybody, to another Digital Gate Studios production. Basil's back in the house with his brand new BT13 baby.
Oh, we're finally here.
We're here.
We made it.
We made it through that exhausting EX4 format.
It was a long one.
It was a long. All right. What do you got for us today?
A card I've been looking forward to basically since the reveal. I think we got these reveals in like BT10 or EX3 format.
Yeah.
But it's finally here. It's Rosemon Burst Mode.
There we go. Finally got another top end.
Yeah, we were waiting for the Quartzmon, and then we're just getting more and more. And it's a different strategy than the Quartzmon. Same idea, but a little bit more aggressive. And so we've got a deck built around it.
Check it out.
We're going to start off with something I never thought I would say, but Argomon has been ousted.
No.
We're on the Cocomon now.
Oh,
this
no.
is our sole survivor from EX4. The egg has the inherited when an effect suspends one of your Digimon, draw one.
Wow.
So a little bit different than the Gummymon. The Gummymon, you had to do one of your opponent's Digimon.
Yeah.
And I think if you wanted a fifth egg, that would be the one to go for.
Okay.
But this egg, when you want to search a bunch, you're gonna be suspending stuff to play stuff.
Yeah, that's all your deck does is suspend itself.
Yeah. So you're gonna proc this egg every turn that you're out of the raising area, and we're going to have a lot more memory than we did in Bloomlord, and we also don't really even need that memory. So
Gotcha.
that's why we're moving away from the Argomon. As sad as it is.
Because there's no alt art for that.
There's no alt art for the Cocomon.
Or pre-release because it was an EX card.
Because it was an EX card. But that's what we got.
Okay.
We'll move on to the rookies, and this is the first one that's new from this set is the Lilimon.
Ooh.
This one is the new searcher for the deck. It's on play, search only 3, grab a plant, a fairy, or a vegetation, and grab a Yoshino. Yoshino is the tamer for the Burst Mode deck. That is how we burst Digivolve. But the thing that makes this better than our old searcher is it has an inherited skill. When you have a green tamer, reduce the Digivolve cost by 1. And so we're going to be getting up very high and very quickly for a very little memory cost. And so that is going to be one of our enablers for that. Of course, it wouldn't be a plant and fairy deck without 4 of the Palmon.
Yep.
This card has obviously been good forever in a plant deck, in specifically Bloomlord, but it's even better now because there are more fairies to search
than ever.
So originally it was just the 4 Bloomlord you play, and if you play Lotusmon or something like that, you could grab that too. But now we have fairies in the level 5, the level 6, and the level 7. So we're going to be grabbing a lot more with this deck. We're going to be getting 2 hits off of it more than we ever were before. And that
just lasts forever because you get more plants, fairies, and stuff in 14,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
It's on the way. We are skipping on the EX3 Palmon because it has anti-synergy with a little bit of our effects that we're going to talk about later. So we're just going to play the last 4 rookies are Floodgates.
Okay.
2 Pomu, 2 Terrier.
Okay.
The Pomu I could see going to even more of in this format because there's a lot of play by effects.
Yeah.
Belphemon Sleep Mode, the Royal Knights on the Omni turn, a lot of things like that. So I could see going up on the Pomumon, but I can't get away from Terriermon.
Yeah.
The memory blockers are really strong permanently.
Always have been. Always will be. Yeah.
It's going to be hard for me to ever get away from that. So
unless they print it on a champion or an ultimate.
If they print it on another card, we might be talking. But that's it for the rookie lineup, just 12, which I think is pretty standard for me these days. And then we'll move on to the level 4s, and we're going to start with the new Sunflow Mod.
Okay.
The new Sunflow Mod has the skill main, not when digivolving. Suspend this Digimon, and then one of your Digimon may digivolve into a fairy. When it does, reduce this cost by 2.
Wild.
So none of our level 5s cost more than 3, so we're always digivolving for 1. But we're only playing 1 fairy level 5, but we're playing 5 fairy level 6s. So you don't have to digivolve this into a fairy. You will a lot of the times, as you'll see a little bit later. But you can also suspend this, and when one of your other Digimon digivolve into a 6 for a reduced cost of 2. And it has the same inherited skill as the Lilimon. So that's going to make our Digivolutions from 5 to 6 cheap as well.
Cheaper and cheaper.
If we have a green tamer, which hopefully we do. Then we'll move on to the tried and true old Sunflow.
Yep.
We all know the the Digivolve skill, suspend something to play a 3K or less plant, fairy, or vegetation.
Most of the time plays more level 4s.
Yeah, more level 4s. The Sunflow is a 3K, so props to Bandai for seeing that out. And the inherited skill is the same as the Cocomon. When an effect suspends your Digimon, draw 1.
You're just filtering your deck like crazy now.
Yeah, we're searching a lot, we're drawing a lot. Because once this deck only turns on when you have the pieces, so that's going to be the way to get those pieces. And we're sticking with 3 on the red veg.
Yep.
We can't get away from the vanilla. It's just cheap. We're moving away from the Yakimon blocker and the Vegemon gain 1 start of main or start of turn. We just need to get into our line as fast and as quickly as possible. We're not really worried about defense so much in this deck. We're just going straight at them.
Makes sense.
And so the red veggies are a cheap option for the deck. Then we've got our only new level 5, which is the Lilimon.
So good.
Yeah. When Digivolving, play a Yoshino. That's our memory setter for the deck and our enabler for the burst mode.
And it's not if you don't have one, do that.
And it's not
literally
if you
just
don't have one. So we've been wanting a level 4 if you don't have a tamer, play a tamer in green. But they gave us something even better, which is play 1, no restriction. And then inherited skill, when you have opponent has a suspended Digimon, security attack +1.
Bonkers.
And they're on the turn that you're swinging with a level 6, they're going to have something suspended.
Guaranteed.
For sure. I never thought we would not be playing 4 of this card, but this new level 5 is so good that we're only playing 2 of the Agitar. The Agitar has more synergy with Bloomlord than it does with our new level 6. But it still does come up every now and then. And if you're going into this in raising, you can still suspend it to play a searcher and get some more search on for free. And we will be playing Bloomlord in this deck sometimes, so you can always go back to that old strategy.
Yeah.
And we have 2 more on the level 5 slot. We have Blossomon and Argomon.
They're
our 2
here to stay.
For 0. So, much like everybody else, I was very surprised when Blossomon was restricted to 1.
Yeah.
And then I played this deck, and I figured out why.
Yeah.
Blossomon is insane in this deck because the synergy with the new level 6.
With the new egg?
It makes sense that that they restricted this card.
Yeah,
I didn't get it at the time, but I certainly get it now.
Well, I mean, you could Digizorb and draw 2 cards too, right?
Yeah,
essentially.
The Digizorb procs the Cocomon,
yeah.
and then you're gonna get your Argomon effect with our level 6.
Yeah.
Which let's just quit tiptoeing around it. Let's get into this new level 6.
Here we go.
We've got Rosemon.
So good.
4 of the new Rosemon.
Another MVP in pre-release.
Another MVP in pre-release, but another MVP in constructed play. It digivolves for 3, which if you have the Sunflow and the Lilimon, it digivolves for 1.
Yep.
And by suspending one of your opponent's Digimon, unsuspend. So if they have an unsuspended Digimon, you can suspend it to reactive. And that's also going to activate its all turns when something gets suspended, suspend another thing.
Yeah.
So you're just going to be suspending a lot of stuff, and it's going to be able to, if you have the Blossomon and the Argomon, it's going to be suspended because you Digizorbed.
Right.
Reactive. If you have the Agitar and you used it, it's going to reactive. If you went into the Lilimon from the Sunflow, it's going to be suspended, reactive. So you're going to have a lot of ways to unsuspend. And this is kind of the reason why I went away from the EX3 Pomumon, because the Pomumon would suspend something, but you need stuff to be unsuspended on your opponent's board to activate the Rosemon effect.
Gotcha.
If you don't suspend anything, it doesn't unsuspend. It can do vice versa, where you can suspend something if you're unsuspended, but not the other way around. So we kind of have a little bit of anti-synergy with the Pomumon, which is why we're moving away from it. This is the core of the deck. I looked and looked and looked at other Rosemons, And we're just in the BT14 waiting room pretty much in that regards.
Gotcha.
The EX1 is not very good.
Yeah.
The promo is not very good.
That's the Digiburst one?
The Digiburst one's not very good. So we're just on the 4 Rosemon. And then on to some old classics. We've got 1 Bloomlord.
Yep.
Bloomlord is still very strong in this deck. It's another fairy to be searched by Palmon and Lilimon. Synergy with Agitar and the Lilimon, another security check if they have a suspended Digimon. It's never going to be bad in this deck, but you really do want to see the Rosemon. The Bloomlord's just kind of there as a backup. And then 1 of the Hydramon. And Hydramon is pretty strong in this format, a little bit weaker than it once was.
Yeah.
Because a lot of things have immunity to being bounced or bottom decked. So you do have to worry about that.
Be a little more strategic with.
But if you have an early Hydramon to bounce like a purple, like an Eismon or something with on deletion or something with search, Hydramon is never really going to hurt you there.
Way to go.
And then the main boss of the deck.
On level 7s?
Yep.
There it is.
Got 3 of the Burst Mode.
Go.
So the Burst Mode is interesting because it's going to, obviously, if you burst Digivolve, it only works on the Rosemon. You can only burst off of that by taking the Yoshino back to hand. But then it also suspends 2 more things. And it could be 1 Digimon, 1 Tamer, or 1 of each. You cannot do 2 Digimon. It has to be 1 and 1. And then for every 2 suspended when attacking, trash a security.
That's wild.
So Quartzmon, the threshold was 5.
5, yeah.
And so now with the Rosemon, it's every 2. But it also has the effect, for that turn, nothing unsuspends. So if you had an out to Quartzmon, you could unsuspend that turn because it was not a blanket effect. It was just its effect while it's active. So if you could de-digivolve it or somehow beat over it or something like that, you were able to unsuspend that turn.
Yeah.
Burst Mode says that turn, period.
Does not.
So it locks down the board in a different way than Quartzmon. But it is more offensive and less defensive in my mind. That's how I like to think of it. Then we'll move on to our enabler for the Burst Digivolve, which is for Yoshino.
That's a new one?
This is the memory setter.
Yeah.
It has the skill, when one of your plant, fairy, or vegetations digivolve, suspend this tamer to gain 1.
So crazy.
So that is making our evolution line cheap.
Or free.
Or free, and it notes that the Sunflow and the Lilimon reduce Digivolution cost, but this gains 1. So when you Digizorb into the Blossomon, it's Digivolve for +1.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why the restriction makes a little bit more sense in my mind. But we have a memory setter we can play for free.
Finally.
We will take that.
Mimi be damned.
Mimi be damned. Then we'll move on. Yoshino, the only tamer we play. The old Yoshino is one of the reasons why I think this deck is a little bit weaker than the Shine Gray and the Mirage Galgamon and even the Ravemon.
Because they have stronger tamers from
Their
past.
old tamers are better than our old tamers because all old Yoshino does is grab back a Digi-Egg.
Yeah.
And it's like, great.
Yeah.
I'm making it to 5 eggs in this deck for sure. Then we'll move into options. We've only got 3 of the green memory boost. We're
Had
down
to find some room.
We're down from 4 because we're going to have the Yoshino setting us to 3 almost always. And green memory boost bottom decks your Yoshino.
Yeah.
And when you bottom deck Yoshino,
Feels bad.
Man, you really need to see Yoshino to enable your deck. So on any turn where you would be playing green memory boost, you're going to want to be playing the Lilimon or the Palmon, because you need to make sure that you have all of these pieces to go into the burst mode. Then we've got 2 Grand El Sol.
Oh, you did fit removal in the deck.
Yeah, I'm never going to move away from this card just because I feel like playing when you go into burst mode, your turn doesn't pass because your burst digivolve is for 0.
0. Yeah.
And so a lot of the times I've found is that when I go into the burst mode, it's still my turn and I've already attacked, I've trashed security, I've stunned their board, and it's kind of like, now what? And so I like to play a Floodgate on that turn, or I'll just bottom deck something. And it's like, okay, well, you can't unsuspend this turn, but you're still going to have your effects. It doesn't stop effects from happening. So just removing something, and now your board is stunned as well, I think is a really strong way to end the turn.
Makes sense.
And one last card in the deck.
What we got?
Hidden Potential Discovered. Hidden Potential Discovered is actually a card you could take out of this deck.
Yeah.
Because
it already does
you're
that.
evoing into Rosemon's 3 to evo naturally. A Yoshino's going to make it 1 less. A Sunflow's going to make it 1 less. A Lilimon's going to make it 1 less. You go into Bloom and Hydramon for very cheap, which is nice. And if you have a Bloom or a Hydramon and want to go into Burst Mode, you go into that for free. But if things are going well, you're just going from Rosemon to Burst Mode for free already.
Yeah.
So believe it or not, HPD was actually something I was going back and forth on, but obviously it made it in because you're never really like, HPD's in my hand.
Yeah.
What a bummer.
What a bummer. Yeah.
Worth noting, if you're thinking about playing this for Ultimate Cup, HPD actually is banned.
Yeah.
It's banned completely to 0. And I think in this deck, you could do basically anything as a replacement. You could do another level 6 if you want more top end, another boost if you want to just play 4, which makes sense. Another Grandel Soul would be fine.
One more defense.
Or just another Floodgate. I could see all of those being reasonable options. But even Samedi Santi if you're
absolutely.
feeling frisky.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's the deck, guys. Basil, thank you again for being on the channel and awesome as always. And feel free to check him out. We got an interview with him. He was on a Two Tamers Talk. We got a bunch of cool stuff with Basil. And we'll catch you guys in the next one. Stay tuned.